Good morning everybody. Thank you for joining us today here live at the waterhole. We have started at Tembe Elephant Park over in South Africa with some very large elephant bulls that look like they are enjoying a nice sunny day in South Africa. My name is Kerry Dupree and I will be your host for this afternoon's live at the waterhole. Please don't forget to send through those questions and comments. We are always dying to hear from you, so send away all those comments and questions that you have for us today. We have some comments coming through already. Banterat says, happy Tawny Tuesday. Yes, Banterat, it is a Tawny Tuesday indeed. I was just trying to catch up with what has been happening at all of our locations, and I just see cheetah and lion everywhere. So always great to see that we've had lots of tawny colors across our locations on the live drives. We also have a comment from Alina. Says, good morning. Is it possible for an elephant to be bitten by a snake, or is the skin too thick? And if so, can they die from the venom? So Alina, yes, I have seen a elephant. It was a young elephant, a baby elephant that must have been bitten by a puff adder because it had a very necrotic foot. Its foot was all swollen and quite necrotic. Obviously, that cytotoxic venom was attacking all the cells in that poor little baby elephant's body. But I think big elephants generally, their skin is very thick, especially their skin on their legs and feet. So it is quite difficult for them to be bitten by a snake. But yeah, young elephants, when their skin is still a little bit soft, rhinos as well, in very rare instances, have also been bitten by snakes. But generally, lots of these thick-skinned mammals, their skin is way too thick for a snake's fangs to penetrate through their skin. Buffaloes as well, I would say it's more likely that you would have a buffalo possibly bitten by a snake rather than a large elephant. What on earth is this elephant up to? I feel like his trunk is done trunking for the day. He's resting his trunk on this little muddy sandbank, and he's decided that his trunk does not want to function at all for the rest of the day. What is he up to? It looks like quite a nice warm sunny day over in Tembe Elephant Park. The sun is out. I know they have a little bit of a different rain patterns to the rest of South Africa. It's one of our locations here on the AfriCamp circuit that seems to stay nice and green throughout the year. I think they have some rains, some early rains, some late rains, and possibly a little bit of rainfall throughout the year, which keeps this location looking lovely, lush and green, enriching the sand forests of this particular part of South Africa. This elephant looks like he's having a rather lazy Tuesday. He's got his one ear is flopping over there. I can't decide if his cartilage is actually broken on his left ear or if he's just having a lazy day. Lazy ear and lazy trunk morning. The Tembe Elephant Park is an iconic national park in South Africa, famously known for their incredible elephants. So they've got some elephants in this particular region with very, very long tusks. So some very good genes and genetics that have been preserved in this region compared to some of our other locations like Namibia. A lot of the elephants in Namibia have very short, stumpy little tusks. Their bodies might be a little bit bigger, but generally their tusks in Namibia, their tusks are a lot shorter. Or even in Botswana, and obviously in the dry season, you can tell these elephants here in Tembe have an abundance of food. They don't have to work so hard for their food. As within Botswana and Namibia, elephants tend to use their tusks a lot more for manipulating vegetation, ripping bark off of trees, and that's what does cause their tusks to chip and break away as well, as the very hot climates and conditions can cause cracking too within the tusks. So I've got another comment from Ari. Ari says, "Good morning, Kerry and FC. Greetings from the Netherlands. Thank you for joining us today, Ari. It is a lovely sunny day here in South Africa. Although in Gauteng province, I feel like there are very threatening and looming thunderstorms. There's lots of thunder and lightning around, but the big rains are yet to reach this part of Gauteng province as well as Tembe. Tembe also looks like it's a very hot day. So got that like hot, humid weather that builds and accumulates. Looking outside right now, we've got some, I'd say some cumulonimbus clouds. They're looking a little bit grey, not grey enough. We all are dying for a little bit of rain in Johannesburg just to cool everything down a bit. It's been, I'd say easily at least a week to 10 days since we've had a proper soaking. There's been a few drops here and there threatening, but not too much rain. Look at this elephant. His trunk is super lazy this morning. Got a comment from Mr. Elemental, says, "Good day, Kerry and crew from a sunny Albany in Western Australia." Mr. Elemental, thank you for joining us today. I actually have family in Australia. I'm always super jealous of their lovely beaches. It's always incredible to see those beautiful beaches you have in Australia, as well as the 4x4ing. I think those are the two main things, obviously, besides all of your, I know you've got great snorkeling over in Australia, but I would love to just go into some of your dunes in Australia and do some incredible 4x4ing. It's a great place to test your 4x4 skills. I guess here in Tembe Elephant Park it would also be a great place to test out your 4x4ing in the sand forests. Alrighty folks, let's go and check out one of our other locations this morning and see what's happening over in Otonyo. A lovely scene here in Otonyo. It looks like elephants are the flavor of our day today, but we also have some giraffe bystanding, waiting for their opportunity to come and have a bit of a drink. I think that's special. Lots of beautiful big elephant tuskers, or handsome tuskers here. And these poor giraffe look rather thirsty. Alright folks, let's go across to the Serengeti and see what else is happening out here today. Oh, got a woodland kingfisher. I think we saw this woodland kingfisher last time I was on live at the waterhole. It seems to have a preferred little perch, so often with kingfishers as well as your bee eaters, they'll have a favorite little perching spot that they'll often hawk or hunt from, and they'll often return to the exact same spot, just like with bee eaters. So if you're into wildlife photography or birding, perfect place for you to sit and wait and watch for these birds to come into these little perching spots. You can get a nice photo of these birds in flight as they come in or as they take off, and you really get to see the beautiful colors on their wings. Peter Mirren has sent through a comment. Peter says the elephants are in charge. Kerry, yes Peter, the elephants are definitely in charge today, up to all kinds of nonsense. Those elephants, they like to kind of really take their time at the waterhole, while the other animals are waiting patiently by. Oh, you can see this kingfisher's looking out for any other predators up there, any larger birds of prey that might be out to hunt him. Is incredible. I love the black stripes around his eyes. See that two-tone color on his bill there, just super special. Oh, he's keeping his eye out. So these kingfishers, these woodland kingfishers, will feed on a variety of different creeping, crawling creatures, like caterpillars, grasshoppers, little grubs. I think I've seen a woodland kingfisher feeding on a small scorpion. So really they do have quite a varied diet that they will feed on. Hello little guy, are you going to catch us something? Look at those little talons that he's got, perfect little claws, grabbing and gripping onto his prey. Patient enough, maybe he'll catch us something. The other day we were pretty lucky. We were patiently watching and waiting for a heron. We had a grey heron that looked like he was hunting, and then we patiently watched and waited, and he actually caught a fish live for us. It was absolutely fabulous to watch these incredible birds and their different hunting strategies. Got very cunning eyesight and vision, perfect for calculating. Talking about Australia, I would love to see a kookaburra. I know Mr. Elemental is from Australia, and yeah, that's one of the birds from Australia that since I was a child I would love to see is the kookaburra. Do look quite a bit similar to our kingfishers here in Africa, much larger obviously. A little bit of a different anatomy, obviously different families, but it would be really great to see a kookaburra. Looking for this little guy. So we've got a J8 Winks is saying greetings, warm greetings from Nigeria. My goodness, thank you for joining us. This is J8 Winks, Nigeria. I don't think I've ever had a viewer from Nigeria, and I would love to know if the weather really is warm in Nigeria right now. I feel like it would probably be quite hot in Nigeria with all the different changes of seasons. Don't really know much about Nigeria. I know yeah, they do have a lot of hot weather in Nigeria though, so thank you for joining us from Nigeria. Always interesting to see where our viewers are tuning in from. We've also got a question from Mr. Elemental, says, can you recommend a book to learn about clouds? So Mr. Elemental, most of what I've learned about clouds has been either online or in my Fagasa study pack. They've got a pretty good section there on clouds. But if you would like to learn more on clouds, there is a very good book by Oliver Perkins. The book is called How Can You Forecast the Weather? By Oliver Perkins. So this book is mostly focused on predicting weather and weather cues, so it will help you to understand what it means when the different clouds are building up. I think it's by Oliver Perkins. But yeah, there's so much that we can also learn online as well. Alright folks, I think our kingfish is taking me a bit of time to find a meal, so let's head across to Safari Hook over in Namibia. Oh, look what we have here. Oh! Something has frightened our zebra friends that have come down to the waterhole for a drink. Lovely to see what else we can find here in Safari Hook. The other week I was on live at the Waterhole, probably about 10 days ago, 2 weeks ago, and we had at this location here in Safari Hook, we had zebra, kudu, waterbuck, springbok and oryx. So this is quite a busy waterhole. We do have a lot of different species coming down here. I'd love to see be cool to see maybe a Cory bustard coming down to this waterhole. And I think this is also the location that we saw our grey heron making a kill. It's always exciting to see birds making a kill, especially these very accurate fish hunters, the herons. Just having a look here, and so in Namibia you have got two different species of zebra. So you've got the plains zebra, which is categorized into two subspecies, the Burchell's zebra, which is the more common zebra species which we see within southern Africa, as well as the Chapman's zebra. And these could be the Chapman's zebra because I noticed the stripes. Have a look on the legs. They've got a lot less color on the legs, so their legs are very white. And a very prominent feature of these Chapman's zebra is they do have very different stripe patterns. So they have a bit of a shadow stripe inside their thinner black black stripes. Oh, some of them have got very muddy hooves at the moment, but look, there seems to be a bit of a fading of their stripes. Alrighty folks, why don't we head across to Tau Lodge, seeing as our zebra are disappearing. Wow, check at Tau, you can see, my goodness, this terrain has changed quite a lot since I last saw this location, and we have more elephants coming down. My goodness, look at all of these elephants, folks. We've got quite a few big bachelor bulls just doing what elephant bulls do, and a lovely big breeding herd making their way down to the watering hole. This is perfect. I love these photos of like groups of elephants, herds of elephants all in a line making their way down to the water. There's also lots of bird life going on here. I think is there a hammerkop or a blackwing stilt? No, hammerkop, yeah. Hammerkop that's fighting with the mud. You can see lots of mud around. Oh, there's a few very big elephant bulls. Yeah, look at these big boys. My goodness. Would not want to get into a fist fight or trunk fight with these elephant bulls. Got a some comments coming through. Moonlight at Midnight says, good morning from a very wet and windy UK. Please keep warm, Moonlight at Midnight. I know the UK seems to be very wet and miserable at the moment. Rolo has sent through a comment. Rolo says, elephants are definitely the flavor of the day today. Yes, indeed, Rolo. Elephants are the flavor of the day. Oh, interesting. Look at this interaction. Yeah, what is happening? My goodness. Look at this elephant ball. Oh. My goodness. This breeding herd was walking down to the waterhole just on their own, doing their own thing, in single file, like they were in two single file lines right next to them, and this big bull just immersed himself into this group of elephants, a herd of elephants, and completely upset the apple cart. But they seem to be, I think they know each other. They probably know each other because they lots of affection here, lots of meeting and greeting. Oh, look, there's some of these mama elephants, a little bit frazzle dazzle, a little bit yeah. See the ears forward there, but kind of like tense body language, looking after their little ones. Melanistic Marble has just joined us. Thank you for joining us, Melanistic Marble. Saying hi everyone. Good morning, Kerry. Oh, it is a great morning, and we've got some elephants that have just come down to have a bit of a mud party. Look at them. It is a hot day, and those little babies has gone straight down into the mud. So awesome watching these elephants at all of our different locations, noticing the body language, their behavior. I look at the body size and the tusks, how they're different from one location and one country to another. But of course this does vary because of the different habitats, the different types of terrain. So we've got a question here from Manson. Manson is asking, why do African elephants have the longest pregnancy of any mammal? So Manson, African elephants, generally the gestation period is around 22 months. Recent studies have shown that if a female elephant gives birth to a young male calf, it could be a slightly longer gestation period. And generally the reason for this is because elephants are born with the largest and most complex brains of any land mammal. So because the brain has to be relatively very well developed at birth, that could be some of the reasons behind why they have such a long gestation period. And the reason that baby elephants need to have this large brain is obviously when they're born, they need to be able to recognize their mother. They also need to be able to learn the social cues of their herd in order that they don't get lost and left behind, as well as memorizing very quickly memorizing the sounds and calls of their family. Look at these elephants. They obviously had a very hot morning out in African bush, just desperate to come and cool themselves off in this little mud puddle. We've got some more comments coming through. We've got a first-time viewer. Morocco from Rustenburg says it's your first time here. What is the weight of an elephant and their lifespan? So generally the weight or lifespan of an elephant, your big elephant bulls some of the biggest elephant bulls are kind of weighing in at, or can live up to the age of around 45 to 50. I know there's been some elephants that have recorded to live even up to almost 60 years of age, but I think that's maybe pushing it a little bit. But generally your bigger elephants and elephant tuskers live up to the age of about 50 to 60 years of age. I think it's very rare that you get elephants nowadays living over the age of 60. And to give you an idea on the weight of elephants, so an African elephant, a female African elephant, can weigh anything between about 2,700 to over 3,000 kilograms, but a big male is weighing in at about 6,000 to just over 6,500 kilograms, which is quite interesting if you think of your African bush elephant compared to your forest elephants, for example. So forest elephants have adapted to being much smaller in size, just like with people in West Africa, also adapting to be a lot smaller. The autochthon people, the pygmies, that also adapted to being smaller so that they could survive in the forest. So forest elephants also have taken on this adaptation. So forest elephants are almost half the size of the African bush elephant. I would say the biggest forest elephant I've ever seen probably wasn't more than about 3,000 to 4,000 kilograms, and your average female is also quite small, between 2,000 to 2,500. So there's no way you'll get an African forest elephant reaching a weight of 6,000 or 6,500 kilograms. That's not to say that they are not very intimidating and rather large creatures. They are still very incredibly large creatures, especially
My full name is Maxine Gaines. Best part of the job, gosh, I just love everything about guiding. I love I love being able to observe animal behavior and animals behaving naturally. So for me, that's by far the best part of the job. And so what we do here at Wild Earth is develop those connections with the people that are viewing, and maybe just light a little spark that says, you know what, I want to be involved in protecting this ecosystem.
Join our expert guides at dawn for a live, immersive safari as the bush comes to life.
Found ourselves a chameleon, and look how he's changed colour.
Every sunrise brings new discoveries.
Pound for pound, a leopard is one of the strongest cats around.
Ask questions, share your thoughts, and connect with nature live and in real time.
Great excitement, great happiness.
Start your day with adventure.
Out here, every wild moment counts, and as a Wild Earth explorer, you will not miss out. Watch the Wild Earth channel ad-free 24/7, and you can even rewind if you have missed out on something. Enjoy the behind-the-scenes video clips as well as fireside chats, or get the early offers on our travel experiences. It's the best way to stay connected and be part of the Wild Earth family.
Elephant's skin is very thick. We had a question earlier about if elephants often get bitten by snakes. They got very thick skin, so generally it wouldn't be possible for an elephant to be bitten and infected by a rabies carrier, but there have been very rare cases. But generally vaccinations don't take place for large populations of elephants like this. Look at these elephants. Even the youngsters, some of the sub-adults are now also getting down into this mud, rolling about. Melanistic marble says, oh wow, lovely Ellie herd. So yes, melanistic marble. We do see elephant bulls here quite regularly, but to see the breeding herds coming down is always a special treat. Oh, and we've got a springbok too. So let's have a quick count here and see how many species we've got in the shop. For now, I think it's just 4. So we've got impala, springbok, waterbuck, zebra, and elephant. So isn't this pretty cool? We've got 5 different species just in the screen in one little spot. Waterbuck also enjoying this lush green marshy little islands being formed in this pan as well. So Noah is asking a question, why do elephants cover themselves in mud or dust so often? So Noah, elephants, unlike us humans, they are not able to sweat to cool themselves down. So they have to manually cool down their bodies, which the best and quickest way to do that is one, dust bathing themselves, as well as covering themselves in mud. So you'll see generally, especially older, bigger individuals, I mean the youngsters, they'll go and roll around in the mud and just have a great time, just like this little baby elephant here. But generally the older individuals that don't spend as much time in the water, the first thing they'll do is they'll get water, splash it behind their ears, and that's a really mechanism for cooling themselves down. They also use their ears, so they flap their ears a lot, and that helps to cool down the millions of little blood vessels that are in their ears. Then the blood cools down and circulates cool blood throughout their bodies. These are the kind of mechanisms that elephants use to cool themselves down. The mud also helps to protect their skin from the sun, acting as a bit of a barrier, as well as insects. So it's kind of got a bit of a dual purpose, as well as keeping these small elephants very well entertained. So Maya is asking a very good question. Maya is asking, why do African elephants have much larger ears than Asian elephants? So exactly what I was explaining now, Maya, about how elephants use their ears to cool themselves down. So obviously our temperatures here in Africa can skyrocket and get really high. So that's probably a good reason for why these elephants, African elephants, need to have much larger ears, is in order to cool their bodies down. I mean, some of these locations, Botswana, Zimbabwe, in the dry summer months, your temperatures are averaging between 35 to 45 degrees, even close to 50 or over 50 degrees in some very dry, hot summer months. And that's why these elephants need those very large ears of theirs to cool their bodies down. It'll be interesting to see if this elephant herd is going to move off now, or if they're going to come and have another mud bath on the other side of this pan. Have a look again. Such interesting interactions to see these breeding herds. They're kind of like a welcome ceremony amongst these elephants with these large elephant bulls. Bit of meeting and greeting. Elephants use olfactory senses, so they sense of smell and touch to recognize different individuals. As we spoke about earlier, this is the reason that elephants have such a long gestation period, is because they have such large brains. They need to be able to remember all these individuals that they've possibly met before. Family members. Some of these breeding herds can be very big sizes. I mean, in Zimbabwe, the largest elephant breeding herd that I know of can get up to over 300 individuals. So that's a lot of family members to remember, their names or who they are, how they fit into the family group. Gosh, sometimes I struggle to remember just the very few people in my family, let alone imagine you're having to remember 300 family members. My goodness, that's a lot. Johan has sent through a comment. Hi Kerry and friends, thank you for joining us, Johan. It is a great day here on Live at the Waterhole. Elephants have been the flavor of our day today. Seems like all of the locations, elephants are out and about having mud baths and just getting up to all kinds of things that elephants get up to. Nice, looks like a bachelor herd of impala also in this area. Alrighty folks, why don't we head across to Oldonyo and see what is happening at one of our other locations. As we were speaking about elephants being the flavor of our day, isn't it awesome to see all these elephant bulls? And this elephant bull is quite interesting and unique. One of the features that just struck out to me, or has kind of stuck out from this elephant bull, is have a look at his tusks. Look at the grooves and the edges of his tusks here. That can be quite a prominent feature in some elephants, and those grooves are probably from feeding. He's been using his tusks while feeding on grass, pulling grass or manipulating vegetation through his tusks. And that's what leaves these very interesting and unique grooves within their tusks. I've seen one elephant before that actually had almost 3 grooves in his one right tusk. So he had a very short left tusk, so his right tusk was then being used for vegetation, for feeding. Oh, he looks a little bit frazzled. Look at his ears up. So kind of body language has changed a bit. We've got a question from Eagle Lover. Eagle Lover said, "Hi Kerry, I noticed waterbuck at Safari Hook yesterday. Surely not their natural habitat." So indeed, Eagle Lover, I've also seen waterbuck before at Safari Hook. And it is quite interesting because normally waterbuck are quite restricted to habitats that are marshy, wet, semi-aquatic water sources. And yeah, this seems like quite an unusual place to find them. But waterbuck are very much adaptable species, so very highly adaptable to different habitats. So in some cases they might move into areas which might not necessarily seem to be a perfect place for them, but yeah, that's great why they are very adaptable species. Especially in areas where there might not necessarily be enough habitat for waterbuck around waterholes. So for example, maybe in Namibia, there's the very thick dense areas could be overpopulated. That's why you have these individuals that are having to adapt to living in slightly more arid regions. This elephant just chased away our poor zebra that came down for a drink. We'll keep our eyes peeled for anything else out there. A special sighting at this particular waterhole is secretary bird. I haven't seen secretary bird for a while, and every now and then we get surprised with possibly a Grant's gazelle or two. There's a male and female Grant's gazelle. I've seen it or Donyo on a few occasions. I know this is also a hotspot area. There's a few lions and cheetah that do frequent this area, as well as there was a jackal at one stage, a black-backed jackal that used to pop in at this waterhole. Zebra are a little bit nervous. I would also be nervous if you had a 6,000 kilogram elephant close by waiting to chase you. Oh, some chakma baboons also coming to join in the antics at the waterhole. Mercedes Bean is also joining us. Greetings, Wild Earth crew and chatters. Happy Tuesday from Mercedes Bean. Thank you for joining us today. Joined at the perfect time. Isn't this an incredible view? We've got elephant splashing himself, cooling himself down. We've got some zebra that look like they're being quite bothered by flies, and some baboons. Thought these were chakma baboons, but most likely if they're in Kenya it could actually be the olive baboons. I find the male olive baboons are a lot easier to distinguish from the chakma baboons because you can see they're a lot smaller in size, these male olive baboons, compared to our chakma baboons in southern Africa. Oh dear, this elephant bull is being a little bit feisty with his waterhole. He does not want to share. Myra has the same thoughts. Myra says, "Hi, Wild Earth. This elephant bull wants the waterhole all to himself." Indeed he does. Elephants are not known to be very good at sharing, especially boisterous elephant bulls. Melanistic Marble says those zebra are thirsty. Yes, indeed, shame. These poor zebra are just dying to come down for a drink, and this elephant bull is not wanting to share his waterhole. Lovely to see this troop of olive baboons moving through this area. So olive baboons are quite widely distributed across sub-Saharan Africa, and obviously including Kenya and Tanzania. As we were speaking about the waterbuck, baboons also very adapted species, mostly living in savannas, woodlands, and can be seen near Ordonyo in kind of mixed forests, hills, as well as slopey areas. The olive baboon's coat is a lot lighter, and the males are obviously a bit larger and have more prominent canines than the females. They normally live in large family groups, anything between about 20 individuals, even up to 100 individuals within one troop. That is also a very big family. Imagine trying to manage a troop of 100 baboons. I feel like the larger the troop of baboons, the more noise they make. Lots of family politics to argue about. The zebra are sneaking in here for a bit of a drink. We did also have some giraffe that were at Ordonyo earlier in the show. They seem to have disappeared. we have a interesting question here from Emma. Oh, this elephant, oh, he's doing his morning yoga Pilates, giving his leg a bit of a stretch. So Emma's asking, can elephants recognize themselves in reflections? And yes, Emma, elephants are one of the very few species that can actually recognize their own image within a reflection. So it has been tested using a mirror, a bit of a case study to see if elephants can recognize themselves. And elephants, so basically elephants were given a mirror, and the elephant actually recognized its own body and was using its trunk to mark places or touch places on his body. So some other animals that can also recognize their own images besides elephants, of course, your great apes, your chimpanzees, as well as dolphins, magpies, and elephants. So yeah, only your specific species that can actually recognize their reflections. Baboons, I'm not too sure. Sometimes I feel like baboons are very inquisitive and curious about their reflections. Like cameras, you often see camera traps, trail cams. Baboons will sit there and look at their reflections, and they try to touch the camera, touch themselves. Some birds will also see their reflections and think it's an intruder. So, for example, your territorial birds, like your widers. Widers, to some point, I feel like hornbills as well, can be very territorial when they see their reflections in the water. Or like reflections in a mirror or a glass of some sort. Look at these baboons. So it's a perfect time of day. Baboons generally are quite water dependent, so a troop of baboons like this would need to frequent a waterhole at least once or twice a day. Generally it'll be, or even 3 times a day if there is a possibility, but generally midday is a good time for them to come down for a drink, or before they go up into the trees at night to roost. So Oliver's asking a question about baboons. Oliver's asking, why do elephant bulls in musk become more solitary and aggressive? So Oliver, during this time when elephants are in musk, they have got a lot of testosterone running through their bodies, filling their brains with all kinds of nonsense. They've got a lot of, especially the younger bulls, it's a very confusing time for them. So sometimes they feel better when they're by themselves, and maybe it is best for all creatures out there when these bulls are going through this period alone. Sometimes it's also good for these young bulls to be in a kind of bachelor group so that they can be put into their place by the older bulls. Yeah, it all has a lot to do with all that testosterone that's running through their body that causes a lot of changes in their behavior. As these elephant bulls get older and more mature, they can handle these testosterone levels being increased a lot better than when they're young. When they're young, the young bulls don't quite know what to do with themselves, and that's why you need to be very careful of these elephant bulls that are in must. So you can see here, these baboons generally forage. They'll forage, and they have quite a variety of different foods they feed on. This baboon obviously pulled up a shrub or piece of grass. They'll often feed on the roots, if there's any leaves, any fruits. That's probably what this little guy is feeding on. And in the dry season, when there's not much food around, they will feed on quite unusual things as well. Looks like a guinea fowl feather in the foreground here. Guinea fowl would probably frequent this pan too for a drink, especially in the late afternoons. Some helmeted guinea fowl. Melanistic Marble says the baboons are sensibly waiting for the elephant to leave. Yes, Melanistic Marble. Baboons are very clever. They rather wait for the elephant to leave to take their chance to have a drink. There's a very small little baby baboon just on the left here. Have a look at this little one. It's probably less than a few weeks old. I'd say less than a month old. He's still got that pitch black fur and those tiny little cute pink button ears. Oh, isn't that just adorable? So cool seeing these tiny little baboons. So apparently in this area, in Eldonyo, the olive baboons at Eldonyo are like the hilltop locals. So they are always on the lookout, moving in large troops, very curious of any visitors. They do keep quite a respectful distance, as well as showing off their very unusual antics. This baboon looks like he's got quite an unusually shaped tail. So big male baboons, they have that arch in the tail there as a sign of dominance. Seem to have a little bit of a twist to his tail, that big male baboon. Female baboons will use their arched tails like that also for balancing their little one on their back. Right folks, well our baboons have moved off, so let's do the same and let's head back to Tembe and see what our elephants are up to in Tembe Elephant Park in South Africa. So we started the show today with this elephant that had a very lazy trunk, and it doesn't look like he's moved very far. Maybe he's had a very long week already. My goodness, so there's a few things here. Have a look. So we've got our woolly neck stalks, 3 woolly neck stalks here. And look at this pan. I don't know, there seems to be water in a strange place here that I've never seen water. So between this elephant on the right and the elephants on the left, there's either a new pan that's been formed here, or this pan could be overflowing. This waterhole could be overflowing a little bit, making a bit of a stream, which is really cool. I've never seen water up there. I know we've experienced quite a lot of rain in South Africa this year. Shame parts of Kruger National Park have been completely flooded with the rains. They had ridiculous amounts of rain. In some, I think when the rains first started around the 14th, 15th, they got something like 450 mils of rain in 72 hours, which is unheard of. Yeah, it's crazy. So obviously the rainfall has come to Tembe Elephant Park as well, filling up all these pans and water holes. Looks like there's a nice bit of a breeze blowing here, maybe building up for some rain later. So Melanistic Marble, interesting comment here. Melanistic Marble says, I put my mirror on the floor opposite your door yesterday, and you're thinking of getting a mirror to hang there. Your cat is always confused walking past it, but only for about 5 seconds. So Melanistic Marble, yeah, I feel like our domestic creatures are quite intelligent. The same as this elephant, he is very intelligent, even though his trunk seems to be having a complete floppy of a day. Look at that trunk of his, it's just like done functioning for the day. But I've seen videos, Melanistic Marble, also with so people have done drawings on the ground, so like spheres or like staircases going down at the ground, like 3D images that have been drawn onto a pavement, a flat pavement that looks like a staircase or looks like a tunnel or a hole going down into the ground. And it's very believing, like you really think it's a hole or a tunnel, and as the cats and dogs walk past it, they almost like jump and get a fright. Cats tend to be a lot more intuitive of things like this, whereas the dogs would kind of walk halfway across it and then get a bit of a fright, whereas the cats would instantly avoid these obstacles. So yeah, I feel like cats are definitely in some cases a lot more intelligent than dogs. So Johan is asking, are the Kruger parks open again? Oh, so Johan, I think, yeah, apparently a lot of people have been evacuated out of the park. I'm sure parts of the park have been reopened, but there's a lot of bridges, a lot of damage to the road network structure in Kruger. So unfortunately, I think for quite some time, most of the park will be inaccessible. But I'm sure as quickly as they can, San Parks are going to be working on the road structure, especially to get to the main camps like Satara and your main kind of central points within the park, they will be working on those roads to get the park up and running again. But yeah, it's a crazy amount of rain and water that has fallen in the Kruger National Park. I mean, I saw pictures of Pafuri, which is normally like very northern part of Kruger National Park, Pafuri there, which is bordering to Mozambique, and normally that part of the park is very arid, very dry, lots of acacias, and to see that fence line completely flooded to the point you can't even see where the fence is just incredible. Yeah, so our thoughts and prayers do go out to all the people in those areas that did experience a lot of rain and possibly lost their homes. I believe there's lots of donations and lots of people helping within those regions, so yeah, hopefully the rainfall will stabilize and we've had enough rain for the season in those parts of Kruger. Everything can start going back to normal. But check this willy next door, because they're such strange looking creatures. Yeah, elephant's trunk seems to be getting a bit of movement. Alrighty folks, why don't we head back across to Tau Lodge and see what else is happening in a different part of South Africa. We've still got elephants at all of our locations today. It's been a very busy elephant day. My goodness, look at these elephants. So it seems like they're still part of a breeding herd, but quite a lot of elephant bulls left behind.
Did you know that 90% of Madagascar's wildlife exists nowhere else on Earth? The Indri's haunting howl echoes through misty rainforest, a sound we will never forget. Travel east where lemurs soar through emerald canopies and coral reefs shimmer beneath turquoise seas. This isn't just a journey. It's a once-in-a-lifetime wildlife adventure I'd like to take you on. Join me, James Hendry, on this exclusive island safari.
Even a hyena coming into the action as well now. Oh my word. She's stalking the hyena now. Leopard, hyena, lion, all together in one shot. Oh. Whoa. This is action-packed.
Do you want to know why impala are the most common antelope we find here in the Kruger National Park? You can ask me questions like this in real time. Our safaris are live and interactive here in the heart of Africa. Join me on Safari Live. Connect with nature.
Join our expert guides at dawn for a live, immersive safari as the bush comes to life.
Found ourselves a chameleon, and look how he's changed color.
Every sunrise brings new discoveries.
Pound for pound, a leopard is one of the strongest cats around.
Ask questions, share your thoughts, and connect with nature, live and in real time.
Great excitement, great happiness.
Start your day with adventure.
Out here, every moment counts. As a Wild Earth explorer, you won't miss a thing. Watch the Wild Earth channel ad-free 24/7 and rewind if you want to catch something again. Enjoy behind-the-scenes videos, fireside chats, and early access to travel offers. It's the best way to stay connected and be part of the Wild Earth family.
Quite a distance from Nkewa, would probably take about a good hour and a half to drive there, and he found a rock dussie, so a rock dussie and a bush hyrax, a rock hyrax and a bush hyrax, all in the same little habitat, which is pretty cool. He showed me those hyraxes, so it's quite cool to find a new species. and learn more about these interesting little creatures that occur in the Mara. The elephants are all going to be coated in this lovely grey mud. Got some more comments that are coming through. Derek has sent through a comment. Hi Kerry, good morning from Scotland. Derek, thank you for joining us today all the way from Scotland. Ava is also asking a question: can elephants detect approaching storms through low frequency sounds? So yes, Ava, indeed, I have had many occasions whereby I've been sitting at a waterhole and the elephants just disperse and run away, like as if someone gave them a tip-off that there's a nasty storm coming. Elephants don't like being exposed in the open during these big storms, so they can definitely feel a lot of the seismic activity underground, just like with termites, and they disperse and make sure that they go into very thick areas. Same as with termites. So with termites, often what you see is termite mounds. You'll see the termites start building, doing a lot of maintenance on their termite mounds. The mounds, the top parts, you'll see a lot of fresh kind of areas, tunnels that have been closed, or fresh work that's been done on those mounds, and you know that the rain is approaching. They're preparing for the rains. Look at these elephants. These are most of the youngsters that are left behind now, probably being left behind by the rest of the herd, naughty guys, while they are just playing in the mud, having the best time. Got another question. Ethan is asking, how much water can an adult elephant drink in one single session? So Ethan, generally elephants can drink up to about 100 to 200 liters of water in about 10 to 15 minutes. So that's about 10 to 15 liters per trunk full. So their trunk can hold about 10 to 15 liters at a time. And generally an elephant can drink over 200 liters of water in one sitting or in one day. They need to drink a minimum of at least 100 to 150 liters of water a day. And like a breeding herd, they can drink anything between, normally I'd say at least twice a day, or once a day, but I mean, elephant bulls can go for a few days without drinking at all, but generally they need to drink at least once or twice a day, especially if they have little ones. Alrighty folks, there seem to be some more elephants over at Eldonyo, so let's link across to Eldonyo and see what our elephants are up to in Kenya. Wow, look at these tuskers here. Although I think there's one individual on the right here that's probably missing some of his tusks. Some nice big elephant boys that have come down to the waterhole. We had some elephants earlier that were at Eldonyo, and eventually he moved off. The zebra came down for a drink, and a whole troop of olive baboons also moved through and entertained us for a few moments here at Eldonyo. So good to see a bit of variety at this waterhole. We have also had giraffe down at this waterhole today. Look at this guy. So we've got this elephant bull on the right. He's completely missing his one tusk, his right tusk. And then there's this elephant bull on the far left. You can see his tusk has broken off. Spoke about earlier how elephants' tusks can break while feeding or fighting with other males. Dark Maned Lover has sent through a question. Kerry, when will you come back for another stint with Wild Earth? So Dark Maned Lover, I will be back on one of the locations with Wild Earth in March, so really looking forward to that. March is my birthday month, so I always like to be in different locations for my birthday. It's always special to explore new areas, and I will actually be at one of the Wild Earth locations that I have not visited yet, so always exciting to visit a new Wild Earth location. One day I would love to have visited all of the Wild Earth locations. That is on my bucket list. See these elephants splashing themselves, just cooling down. seems to be quite a hot day at most of our locations today. We have a question from Ruby. Ruby is asking, why do elephants show such high levels of empathy, comfort, distressed individuals, and how does that compare to primates or other higher social mammals? So Ruby, we were chatting a lot today about like recognition, animals with higher intelligence that are able to recognize their reflections, their images, and again the same species seem to pop up. Animals with the best memories, it always, or most well-developed brains, it always seems to pop up with the same groups of animals. So again, your elephants, your dolphins, your primates, magpies and crows seem to be quite high up there as well, but generally elephants live in quite tight-knit matriarchal family groups with strong bonds across many generations. So their survival does depend on cooperation in order to protect their calves, to protect members of the family. So that is why they do need to have a very good sense of empathy reinforced within that social cohesion, their social family group, and it is critical for their survival. So these are some of the reasons why they need to have a very higher intelligence. So they need to have those very large complex brains. Also for remembering all the passageways and pathways that they have moved, areas that are good for feeding, areas that they can move through during a specific time of the year when food might be lacking in some areas. They know to move to other areas. Places that might not be safe for them, places they might have experienced some sort of trauma. So they need to have these large and complex brains in order to deal with all of these memories and to have all this knowledge and information that is passed down from one generation to the next. That's some of the reasons why elephants are so intelligent, and very similar with your dolphins, your primates. So again, primates, I like to use chimpanzees. So chimpanzees, your bonobos, your greater apes that are a lot more intelligent than baboons, for example. And that's because your greater apes or your higher apes need to have a very complex social structure, and their lives depend, and their survival depends on their cohesion within that social group. Whereas your lesser primates, your smaller monkeys, your vervet monkeys, baboons, their brains are not as large, they're not as well developed, and that's because they have smaller social structures and dynamics to have to deal with and remember on a daily basis. So Ruby, I hope that answers your questions. It just shows, like with us humans as well, how us humans, we have the mental capacity to be able to maintain lots of different relationships within our lives, to remember these are friends, these are enemies, these are work colleagues, these are business colleagues. So yeah, we have to have a very well developed mental state in order to comprehend all these different interactions that we undergo on a daily basis. So Zoe's asking a very good question also about elephants and maintaining lifelong memories and migration routes. So Zoe, you've just answered your own question there. We were just chatting about why elephants have such a long gestation period, the fact that baby elephants have very big brains, that elephants have to deal with all of these interactions, social interactions, as well as being able to remember all these different things that I've just been discussing. So incredible. I know a lot of people that if you had to be an elephant and remember every single place you've traveled to, it's like a mental mind map, you would definitely get lost. Gosh. Darkman Lover says, thank you, Kerry. Look forward to seeing you in March on your birthday. Can't wait. Thank you, FC, as well, from Darkman Lover. Got another question saying, Mercedes Bean says, FC, another March birthday. My mom's in March as well. Mercedes Bean, I would love to know when your mother's birthday is in March. I know there's lots of March babies out there. Off our elephants disappear. We have been so blessed today, folks. Lots of elephants all around. at our locations. How special. Lots of March babies out there, spring babies. Alrighty folks, as our elephants have moved off, let's head across to Tembe Elephant Park and go and see some other elephants. Alrighty folks, if you are just joining us, or if you have not been watching since the beginning of this show, we have had this elephant bull that has been hanging around at this spot with a very lazy trunk. I feel like his trunk has done daying. He's done doing the whole trunk thing, and this elephant has literally just been standing around today, just resting his trunk on a mud bank wherever he has the opportunity. We've also got a warthog just behind this elephant here. He's also got a collar, this elephant, part of a research project, I'm pretty sure. And we've got some sneaky zebra also hiding in the acacia thickets just in the distance here. So I'm not sure if this is the same elephant from the beginning of the show. Elephant we were watching earlier didn't have a tracking device on, but we've had a lot of lazy trunked elephants here at Tembe Elephant Park today, shall we say. Mercedes Beans says, your mom is on the 20th of March, her birthday. My birthday is on the 26th of March. So it seems like we have a lot of March babies around. Goodness. Just makes you so happy, brings an instant smile to your face, just being able to sit here and watch all of these animals go about their day completely undisturbed by us. We're like these little ninjas watching in the background, like the flies on the walls of these wildlife animals' day, just watching them go about. I'm sure there's a lot of viewers out there that have not asked me any questions, so if you do want to ask any comments or questions, please don't forget to send them through. I'm always dying to hear from you. Mostly elephant bulls that we see here at Tembe Elephant Park. I don't think I've ever seen a breeding herd at this location. Maybe once or twice. Mostly I'd say majority of the elephants we see coming through to Tembe are these very big, old, wise elephant bulls. So folks, one of my highlights from Africam from this last week, if you go and have a look on the Africam Instagram page, they have done a really epic reel of the highlights of Wangi National Park over the last couple of months, and it's really awesome to see all the different animals that occur at one particular location. I mean, they've got everything on there, from your common plains game animals to elephants playing baby elephants. They've also got, I saw they had a blackback jackal, they had striped jackal, of course. Wangi Safari Lodge is famously known for their wild dogs. Lots of lion action too. So if you want to have a look and see what the highlights from some of our locations are, go and check out the Africam Instagram page. I always have a bit of a browse through that Instagram page to see what's been happening at our locations, but I'm really enjoying the highlight reels from each particular location. I think they did one on Tembe a while ago as well, and there's some surprising creatures you wouldn't expect at certain locations. Alrighty folks, why don't we change things up a bit and head across to Safari Hook over in Namibia and see what is happening there. Alrighty, so we had some zebra earlier here at Safari Hook as well. It's nice to see that we've got some wildebeest also coming out and about. We were chatting earlier about waterbuck, how we've seen waterbuck at this particular location, and how it's interesting as it's not a I wouldn't say it's an obvious habitat to find waterbuck, but we kind of put it down to the fact that waterbuck are very adaptable species, and they do adapt to different habitats. Oh, have a look here on the right, we've got some zebra that are licking the termite mound. Could be trying to get some salts and minerals out of that termite mound. So Stephanie has sent through a comment or question. Stephanie asked, Kerry, where in Africa do you still want to go? Oh, Stephanie, there's so many places in Africa that I still want to go. I mean, obviously Uganda, Rwanda are probably the top of my list, especially for the shoebills, seeing the mountain gorillas. I would love to go to Chad. Oh, Chad just seems like an incredible place to visit. Ivory Coast is incredible. Also lots of new species in Ivory Coast that I would like to go and explore. And of course DRC is very big on my list. I'd love to go and find the Congo peacock in the DRC, as well as some of the other rare little creatures that roam in the jungles of the DRC. We've got Catherine that has just joined us. Thank you for joining us today, Catherine. Great to have you with us today on the show. We are currently at Safari Hook, just looking to see what else we can find out there. We've got the springbok that's also around. Lovely to see some springbok. We had a nice male kudu at this location as well. Last time I was live at the waterhole. So always nice to see some kudu. Looks like Namibia has received a tad bit of rain. Some nice little green grass shoots coming through. That's what these springbok most likely coming to nibble on along the shoreline of this pan here. And if I'm not mistaken, these trees look like they could be mopani trees, little mopani trees that have also got their leaves. What is this zebra up to? This termite mound seems to get a lot of action from the zebra. They seem to spend a lot of time here either rubbing up against the termite mound, or they often, you can see them actually licking the termite mound. As I mentioned earlier, they'll probably be licking to get access to some of the mineral rich soils that might be used in construction of these termite mounds. There's a lot of salt and sodium that can also be amongst this mound here, so there could be some reasons these zebra are licking the mounds, and these minerals do help to neutralize any toxins within any plants that they feed on, so it does help with the digestion of a lot of these plains game, especially for ruminants. So it helps to sort of balance their gut chemistry a little bit. Especially during the green season like now, Shem, I know a lot of animals do struggle with their stomachs during the green season, especially when the rains just arrive. They are so deprived of food that they just eat too much green grass, and it can sometimes upset their microbes within their stomach. So Catherine has just sent through a comment, would love to see the okapi in DRC. So yes, Catherine, okapi and Congo peacock are top on my list, as well as bonobos that I would love to see in the DRC. Unfortunately, there's very few areas in the DRC that the okapi and the Congo peacock actually occur in, and as far as I understand, I think some of those restricted areas are actually within a, let's say, non-safe zone. Definitely not tourist friendly areas, but would be pretty cool. Alrighty folks, why don't we head back across to Old Donyo and see what our elephants are up to. Elephants and more elephants. There's just elephants everywhere today, folks. It is so lovely to see. Find these elephants, they'll be quite busy moving and feeding early hours of the morning when the weather is nice and cool. But as soon as it starts getting hot, just like with us humans, we tend to have an instant magnet towards the nearest waterhole or drinking spot to find a beverage to cool us down for the day. I think that is exactly how I'm feeling right now. Probably as soon as Live at the Waterhole is done, I'm most likely going to go and jump in the swimming pool or make myself a very cold glass of iced tea, because this weather is rather hot, just like how these elephants are feeling. Got a question from Tong Po, is asking, are springbok the same as gazelles? So Tong Po, springbok basically, they belong to their own family, so they're not necessarily a true gazelle. So springbok belong to the Bovidae family. Genetically and anatomically, they are quite closely related, even though they do look slightly different and have similar habits. So springbok are the only species in their genus. They do have a distinct fold of white hair along their back that they can raise. And of course, springbok are famously known for pronking. They use their very high, stiff-legged jump in order to signal fitness and deter predators away. Even though springbok look like gazelles, they're slightly related. Springboks are sort of their own special Southern African version. What have we got here? Looks like we've got some birds coming down. I feel like a birding day coming. I'm going to be live at the waterhole for tomorrow and Thursday. So I feel like tomorrow we need to have a big birding day. I miss birding, so I think a big birding day is definitely brewing. Joanne Mello says happy Tuesday, Wild Earth and Kerry. Joanne Mello, thank you for joining us. Happy Tawny Tuesday. Or, as I keep seeing everywhere, Taco Tuesday. I don't know where that comes from, but apparently it is Taco Tuesdays. I could do with a taco right now. Some more zebra coming down to the waterhole. We had some zebra here earlier that were very nervous. And they're very thirsty zebra. These elephants, they're not always great at sharing their water. I'm mostly seeing ring-necked doves coming down to the waterhole. Maybe a few namakwa doves here and there. I'm seeing a bit of like a rufous burgundy color. Often with your namakwa doves, when they're flying into a waterhole as they have their wings splayed, there's a bit of a rufous. Oh, here we go, folks. There's our namakwa dove. Here's a male. Nice black. Oh, two. Yeah, there's a few. So those males have very black, almost like an apron over their eyes that goes down onto their chest. And as I mentioned, that rufous, they've got that very prominent rufous dark brown color to their wings. So as they fly in, you don't notice it when their wings are closed, but when they're flying into a waterhole, you do pick up on that color. So what's lovely about sitting at waterholes like this is you should kind of just like set your camera on a burst and get photos of these birds flying in and flying out of the waterhole, and then you start to pick up on all the smaller little beautiful details that you might have otherwise missed. So with elephants and other plains game, when you're at a waterhole like this for long periods of time, you can really start focusing on the smaller things on these animals, getting nice close-up shots of their eyes, their toenails, the wrinkles in their skin. So Johan said, yeah, let's bird. I was mentioning earlier, I feel a big birding day brewing. I don't know when or if I'm ever going to be able to beat my birding record. My birding record on Live at the Waterhole, I think, was 42 birds that we managed to count on Live at the Waterhole. And of course, this is, I think we were using sound at that stage. I think we were using sound as well, but now we'll pretty much just be going off site. So that's quite a lot of birds to record in one day live at the Waterhole. But yeah, tomorrow I think we will definitely plan to do a big birding day. It's been too long. Let's have a bit of a quiet moment, folks, to listen and watch these elephants.
Join me at Mabulla Private Game Reserve from 6 to 11 May 2026 for a 5-night private safari for just 6 guests. Just incredibly exciting. Enjoy guided walks, take part in rhino conservation efforts, and explore Mabulla's beautiful landscapes from open plains to rocky hills, alive with birds, animals, and vibrant plant life.
The Wild Earth Impact Foundation is a non-profit that uses the power of wildlife storytelling as a force for good. We create sustainable development projects that showcase conservation stories, empower people, and inspire environmental action. As a registered South African PBO, you can make a tax-deductible donation to the Wild Earth Impact Foundation. To find out more, visit our website.
Would you like to know the difference between a male and female wildebeest? You can ask me questions like this in real time. Our safaris are live and interactive here in the heart of Africa. Join me on Safari Live and connect with nature.
Join our expert guides at dawn for a live, immersive safari as the bush comes to life.
Found ourselves a chameleon, and look how he's changed color.
Every sunrise brings new discoveries.
Pound for pound, a leopard is one of the strongest cats around.
Ask questions, share your thoughts, and connect with nature, live and in real time.
Great excitement, great happiness.
Start your day with adventure.
In Aldonio could be also due to a mange, a bit of wear and tear, scratching because of lots of parasites in order to relieve irritation, which does break down the hair and mane and in extreme cases does thin it out completely. So in areas like Aldonio with the lava rock, the very rough bark and dusty conditions, that could cause the zebra to wear away at their manes. As well as any fungal infections that they could get in these areas as well. What are these elephants up to? I feel like one of these elephants' bull they're flapping their ears, but the one bull every now and then he just keeps standing there looking at this other bull in the distance. Maybe he's checking this bull out, sizing him out, wants to plan a bit of an attack. Chase them away from their little wallowing spots. It's amazing, these elephant tuskers that come down to these areas. So again, we were speaking earlier about how elephants have incredible memories and how they can remember all these spots and places to come down for drinking, for looking for minerals. So when they need a specific mineral, or if they need to feed on a particular type of food in the green season when food is short, they know exactly where to go. They remember all the passageways, all these pathways that they've moved throughout their life. Isn't that incredible? Or in a herd structure, of course, this knowledge, information gets passed down from one generation to the next, from grandmother to daughter to granddaughter. Generally, you'll see the matriarchs, the oldest females, they'll be the beacons, the leaders of that herd. Got a comment from Harry Lolly. Says, hello Kerry and Wild Earth chatters from a sunny but very humid Cape Town. Harry Lolly, I hope you're having a lovely day in Cape Town. Hopefully the sun has chased away the wind. I cannot handle that Cape Town wind. It is ghastly. My goodness. But yeah, I can imagine it'll be lovely sitting in Cape Town right now, Harry Lolly. I hope you have a lovely view of the ocean. It's a beautiful location, Cape Town, to visit. I feel like it's definitely on the top 5 places in South Africa that you need to visit. I mean, most people, obviously, while traveling, going on safaris throughout Africa, you often will transit through Johannesburg. Kruger National Park is definitely big on the list for places to visit in South Africa, Drakensberg, but Cape Town is definitely a must-see location. It's beautiful in Cape Town. I feel like lots of outdoor activities as well. Of course, you've got lots of hiking, climbing the mountains, going up Table Mountain. There's just so much to do in Cape Town. It's a beautiful, beautiful part of South Africa. Where our woolly neck storks have disappeared to. We had 3 woolly neck storks that were roaming around earlier. Oh wow, definitely had lots of rain here. Look at all the water. More elephant gulls hiding under the shade of the acacia trees. Some nice blue skies over in Tembe. Haven't seen our pied kingfisher for quite some time. There was a pied kingfisher that I've seen probably when I first started doing live at the waterhole, and I have not seen this pied kingfisher yet, or again. And sometimes there's a striped kingfisher that also hangs out on the left hand side. There's a acacia thicket that it likes to sit on. Of course, every now and then there was also African fish eagles that used to frequent this pan. Oh, folks, there's some activity over at Aldonio. Let's head over to Aldonio and see what's happening. Oh, hello. Looks like our giraffe has come back, and the baboons have also returned. We had a whole troop of olive baboons that walked across the cameras earlier. And this female giraffe looks rather pregnant. My goodness, look at that bulging belly of hers. So generally the gestation period for a female giraffe is normally about 15 months. So that's about 440 to 450 days. That is a very long gestation period. Imagine having a large belly like that for such a long period of time. So it is also one of the longest gestation periods for any mammals. Of course, elephants is the longest, 22 months, and then you've got giraffe at about 15, and then you've got white rhinos also about 15 to 16 months, black rhinos about 14 to 15 months. So when this female giraffe gives birth, her little one will have to have an instant bungee jump of about 1.5 to 2 meters, where this little one will drop to the ground. Poor little thing, it's just long legs launching itself into the world. But this thud does have a benefit. So when the little one falls to the ground, and as it hits the ground, that does help it to have its first breath in life. So it kind of kickstarts the little one's system, its body takes in its first breath. And the newborn giraffe can weigh anything between about 50 to 70 kilograms. My goodness, like imagine a little giraffe, a baby giraffe weighing the same as like a fully grown adult human. Like, isn't that crazy to think about? So generally the height of a little giraffe when they're born is already about 1.8 meters. So that's also can contribute to why giraffes have such very long gestation periods. I wonder if this olive baboon is by himself. Maybe he's a scout or a big male that was left behind by the troop. So Harry Lolly has sent through another comment about our weather in Cape Town. Harry Lolly says that surprisingly not a windy day today, Kerry, here in the mother city. Harry Lolly, that's good to hear. It's not windy, although you mentioned it was humid earlier, so sometimes with the humid weather it's nice to have a little bit of wind to cool everything down. So Harry Lolly, I hope you fix yourself a nice cold beverage. I've been really enjoying my iced tea. I've been making peppermint and pomegranate iced tea the last 2 weeks or so, and it has been rather refreshing on these hot days. This giraffe is just watching this baboon. What is going on? She looks like she's going to pop. But I feel like giraffe and zebra, for their last few weeks of their pregnancy, they do look like they're about to pop every day. Shame. I've seen some zebra that are so huge, you can see their backs are arching and their stomachs are warping, and my goodness, shame. You think, when are they going to drop their little ones? So again, we spoke about the gestation period and why giraffe have such long gestation period. It's because they're born so well developed at such a huge weight of around 60 to 70 kilograms. Those are very long legs that take a lot of time to develop as well. What is she looking at? I feel like this giraffe is inspecting something. Maybe there's other giraffe in the area. Maybe she doesn't want to be left behind. Such majestic creatures, these giraffes. And this baboon is a very thirsty baboon. Come on, girl, come down for a drink. So it's been estimated that there's probably around about 400 to 450 giraffe left in Kenya. Mainly found, you mainly get a lot of these giraffe species. Obviously they can move from one country to another. There's apparently 4 different subspecies of giraffe, so their range does vary from species to species. And unfortunately unfortunately, giraffe populations are very much threatened because of habitat loss. A lot of farming areas have taken their habitat, as well as obviously giraffe need a lot of space to move, so it's very similar to cheetah. They need to have these wide open protected spaces to move, as well as feeding. Very few of the giraffe species are actually vulnerable to diseases or disease outbreaks, or genetic bottlenecking. That can also cause a bit of an issue. But in this particular area of Oldonyo, as well as Kenya, there are just three different subspecies of giraffe. So obviously the Maasai giraffe, your reticulated giraffe, which is more further up in the north, and the Nubian giraffe, or Rothschild, which has now formed part of the northern giraffe, where populations do occur or interlink. So the Maasai giraffe is probably one of the most common found across the southern and central Kenya savannas and woodlands. So this is most likely your Maasai giraffe. Obviously the reticulated giraffe is very prominent spots and coloration, so you can't confuse the reticulated giraffe with a different species. I've not yet seen the reticulated giraffe. I would love to see one. They do look very different compared to, I mean, for me, most of the species, when you see the photos of the 4 different subspecies, they mostly look the same. I mean, your Maasai giraffe, have a look here, they've got a lot more veining in the spots, so a lot more little lines amongst the spots, but the reticulated giraffe really does stick out. They've got very, very big, thick spots and very dark in color. She looked rather thirsty, but I don't think she trusted that baboon for some reason. So it's interesting, as we are speaking about these giraffe and their spots, it's quite unusual and interesting that beneath every giraffe spot is quite a complex network of blood vessels. So these blood vessels connect to pools of capillaries that can release heat from the blood. So yeah, their spots help them to thermoregulate. Oh, we've got some zebra coming in. So apparently Catherine is having some very miserable cold weather over in Germany. Catherine says, I can't wait to be back on safari to warm up. It's freezing here. Shame, Catherine. I think at this point I would swap with you in a heartbeat. I'm dying for some rain or cold weather. Like the last 2 weeks, I feel like almost every day here in Johannesburg your skin feels like it's on fire. It has been rather warm and humid, building up for, I would say, the last few rains of the season. So in southern Africa we're now heading, I'd say, either in the middle of our rainy season or heading towards the end of our rainy season in most of these regions of southern Africa. So Catherine, I do agree with you there. The reticulated giraffe are the most beautiful in your opinion, and yes, Catherine, I would say that they do look very majestic, very well put together. Whereas if you have a look at this giraffe here, for example, you can't really see the spots. It kind of just looks like a mishmash of spots and stripes and veined lines into the spots, whereas the reticulated giraffe are very specific. Alright folks, why don't we head across to Founders Lodge and see what is happening in the Eastern Cape of South Africa. Ah, look what we have here, a family of warthogs. So creatures that are whimsical in the wild. Besides, I mean, I feel like all wild animals do have their whimsical moments, but warthogs and baboons, I feel like, have to be some of the most whimsical, funny little creatures you get out in the wild. I was speaking about earlier on the Africa, their Instagram page, they've done a whole bunch of highlight reels from the different destinations, and it just makes your heart so happy when you see these little warthogs chasing their tails around and around in circles. This female warthog has quite impressive tusks. Have a look at her tusks there. Very good little weapons to defend her young ones from predators. Lots of predators out there that would love to snack on a little baby warthog, which pretty much includes everything, I feel. Just like a baby warthog and a baby impala, everything is on every predator's menu, even including large birds of prey like your martial eagles. They'll take a small warthog. Pythons, I've seen pythons taking warthogs. There's so many predators out there that'll snack on a little baby warthog, so they better make sure they stay very close to their mama. And off they go. This is our rhino rubbing rock. Seems like the female warthog was also inspecting that rock. It's like a little rhino, perfect little rubbing post for the rhinos and warthogs. after they have come from the waterhole. Need to rub off all that mud. We've been having some great sightings here at Founders of Sable. There's been lots of sable coming down to this waterhole, so really awesome to see sable. Occasionally I know we have blessbok that come down, but it's been a very busy little spot with warthogs and rhinos lately. Oh, I think our little warthogs are still there playing with each other. Zira is asking a question. Kerry, where does this waterhole get its water? So Mzira, I think a lot of these waterholes are pumped, especially in the dry season. I mean, I know in the rainy season most of the artificially pumped waterholes, they might turn off the pumping system. It's not really needed during the rainy season, but here in the Eastern Cape again they have very different weather patterns compared to the rest of South Africa. So this would probably be a pumped waterhole, most likely some sort of pump system that in most cases have some solar that do assist with the pumping of the water to provide water for these animals. So Mercedes Benz says you should go to the eastern US, loads of cold and snow. So Mercedes Benz, yes, I do like some nice cold weather for a while, but after a few weeks it becomes a bit much. Alrighty folks, why don't we head across to Safari Hook in Namibia and see what is waiting for us. We have some more zebra over at Safari Hook. Got a comment from Penelope Kenyon. Penelope says, warties are your favorite uglies by far. I know they are part of the ugly 5 warthogs, but there's just something about warthogs. They just got so much life, so much energy. Just like bring an instant smile to your face, and the sibling love and rivalry they have between each other, like with warthogs and baboons, I feel like it's very similar. They're either playing with each other and having the best time, or fighting with each other and trying to kill each other. Like, it's this love-hate relationship that they have that is so special to watch. Lovely, been really great watching all the zebra today here at Safari Hook. Seems like a very healthy population of zebra within this area. We mentioned earlier, it looks like Namibia's had a little bit of rainfall, but I mean most regions in Namibia, if they receive 200 mils of rain in a year, that's a lot. And I think the average rainfall in most parts of Namibia, it's probably averaging between 130 to 180 mils of rain. If they have over 200 mils of rain, that is a lot, which is crazy. As I mentioned earlier, with all the floods we've been having in the Kruger National Park, some regions experienced 450 mils of rain in 72 hours, which is crazy that it's like double the rainfall that Namibia would get in a year, which isn't that crazy to think of the amount of water. What are these zebra up to? We did have some springbok here earlier, and I can see a lot of datura, all the datura plants that seem to have died off during the last rains or last dry season. Oh, and a waterbuck. There's a big male waterbuck just on the right here. Wow, isn't he an impressive boy? Alright folks, why don't we go and check out a location that we have not been to today and see what's happening over at Mawela in Botswana. So I know 2 weeks ago over in Botswana they were experiencing a lot of rain. So the rain seemed to have also come through to Mawela. See a lot of rainfall, and this looks like a marshy elephant paradise. had lots of elephants through this area, and it's just like an elephant heaven. Like, elephants really don't need to go anywhere else. They could spend the whole day in this area. I think there's also possibly a woolly neck stork in the thick reeded vegetation here, maybe some yellow bill storks as well. Oh, yep, there we go. Woolly neck stork. He's popped his head out. So again, in most of these areas in Mawela and Botswana, I feel like at this time it will be mostly the big bachelor bull groups that you'll be seeing. Melanistic Marble has sent through a comment saying, the first giraffe I ever saw in the wild was a reticulated giraffe in Samburu, Kenya, and really close up. Very red soils up there. The ellies are red too. Yes, Melanistic Marble. We're just admiring the beautiful spots of the reticulated giraffe and the red soils over in Samburu in Kenya. I do love how it changes the colors of the elephants. Obviously they'll spend a lot of time mud bathing and mud wallowing in those red soils. Normally red soils are an indicator of red oxidized sand, or soils with red oxide, and makes the elephants a bit red too. Derek Shearer has sent through a comment, do any predators such as hyena visit waterholes and be a danger towards the zebra or elephants? Derek, so interesting you ask about hyena. So you get very big hyena clans in some parts of Africa that have adapted to actually hunting down young elephants. So for example, the elephants in hyena in West Africa, in parts of Congo Brazzaville, as well as into Gabon, they do wait at the pans, the bays, for elephants to come through.
My full name is Cedric Leslie Dold. The best driver at Wild Earth, it is me. I believe I'm the best driver. I think so, because I've... Best part of my job, I say, is just to try and look out for these animals, track them down. I love tracking animals. I love looking for, fresh tracks, and if you can find them, it's just at the moment of accomplishment. If I wasn't a presenter for Wild Earth, I would be the drummer for AC/DC.
Join our expert guides at dawn for a live, immersive safari as the bush comes to life.
Found ourselves a chameleon, and look how he's changed color.
Every sunrise brings new discoveries.
Pound for pound, a leopard is one of the strongest cats around.
Ask questions, share your thoughts, and connect with nature live and in real time.
Great excitement, great happiness.
Start your day with adventure. Safari, wine, and waterfalls. The ultimate African adventure. Sip South Africa's finest wines. Experience a world-class safari among Africa's iconic wildlife. And stand in front of Victoria Falls, one of the natural wonders of the world. All this can be yours with Wild Earth Travel, where Africa comes alive.
My goodness, I think, was it Steve that saw a black springbok over in Amakhala? My goodness, I have not actually ever seen a black springbok before, folks. Have a look at this little creature. My goodness, definitely a lifer for me. Wow, isn't this crazy? Not something you see every day. Look at this little guy. Is he lost? What's happening? My goodness. Isn't this so cool? So unfortunately, these animals that are born, it's a bit of like a recessive gene that doesn't have a normal color. They do often get picked out a lot quicker by predators. So the black springbok is a bit of a rare color morph. It's a bit of a genetic variation that does cause a bit of fluctuation in the melanin, or cause melanism, and that's a fluctuation in the genes, which produces an excessive black pigment. So yeah, shame. These individuals often, they stand out, and they do get picked out by predators because of that black color. They don't blend in as well as the rest of the herd does. But whoa, that is a lifer for me, folks. A mammal lifer. I'd love to hear from any of our viewers if this is also a live at the waterhole lifer for you too. Oh, he's chewing his tail. Isn't that just so cute? My goodness, it's not every day that you get a mammal lifer on live at the waterhole, so I'd love to hear from our viewers if this is also a mammal lifer for you as well. I mean, I know black springbok, I think is probably one of the more common melanistic individuals that you can get amongst the plains game family or plains game. So obviously black impala, black springbok. I've seen a lot of photos of black kudu in Zimbabwe. But yeah, those probably be three of the really more common species of plains game that can have a bit of a melanistic form. So it's only the coat that is different, folks. It's just the color of the coat. My gosh, it's so cute. Alrighty, folks, let's head back across to Old Zonyo and see what else is happening there. So we have some more elephant action, but I am still super excited from our interesting little black springbok over in the Eastern Cape at Founders Lodge. How exciting. So this black springbok is one of nature's little surprises. So it's genetically the same as a regular springbok, but with a stunning jet black coat that makes it look like it came straight out of a storybook. Again, in South Africa and a lot of ranches in South Africa, or a lot of game farms in South Africa, they might be a little bit more common. I know obviously they will have, you do have a lot of game farms that do breed these genetically different species, like your golden wildebeest, black impala. I've seen lots of black impala in game farms and game ranches in South Africa, black springbok. But in the wild they are very rare occurrence, that although the genes have been kind of preserved and bred a lot in captivity. Wow, how epic. So Kim Faustino says, my first time to see a black springbok. Definitely my first time too, very exciting. Got another comment from Stephanie says, yes, a lifer for me. I think Steve had one in Amakala. Yes, Stephanie, if I remember correctly, I think Steve on one of the drives did find a black springbok. Very, very special sighting. Look at this elephant. He's got very tatty ears, this elephant. We were chatting earlier about elephants and how sometimes they have grooves in their tusks. This can be caused by pulling and feeding vegetation over their tusks, manipulating vegetation to feed. This elephant seems to have pretty clean tusks. So again, when we say clean tusks, it looks like his tusks are the exact same length. I don't think they've broken in any way. They don't have too many visible grooves. Maybe in his right tusk he has a slight little groove there, but yeah, it's so interesting how these elephants maneuver and manipulate vegetation around their tusks. So they're so important, these tusks, to help them while feeding, and in turn they get these little grooves and notches in their tusks. Lady Macbeth says, I think the lighter morph are more likely to be picked off. So Lady Macbeth, yeah, so often what does happen with these darker morphs, so leucistic individuals or melanistic individuals, so for example with leucism is when a particular individual is very white in color, they would also be taken out by predators. So generally survival, so darker color may make them more visible to predators, especially in some habitats, but they do thrive in areas where camouflage isn't as critical. Whereas leucistic individuals, I mean, you do get this in birds often, like your goshawks. Often you get sparrowhawks and goshawks that might have a leucistic or melanistic form, also do pose the risk of being taken out by larger birds of prey. Seems like the wind is picking up a little bit here in Oldonyo, but it's been such a lovely day today. We've had elephants all across our locations. How special. Surely has been a busy spot, Oldonyo, today. We've had elephants, we've had giraffe, zebra, lots of baboons. Been a busy day here at Oldonyo. Lots of bird life coming through for a drink as well. Fortunately no secretary birds just yet, but we will keep an eye out. Maybe in the next few days we might find a secretary bird or two coming down to Oldonyo waterhole. And off our elephant disappears. We've had lots of elephants today. We just linked across to Cat Eye with a bit of elephant action for our last few seconds of the show. Alrighty folks, well, it has been such a pleasure being with you today live at the Waterhole. From me and the rest of the Wild Earth team, I want to say a big thank you. Don't forget to tune in to the Sunset Safari coming up later this afternoon. I will see you tomorrow live at the Waterhole for our big birding day. Have a lovely Taco Tuesday, folks. We'll see you tomorrow, same time, same place.